Back with ancient cosmography. Second attempt to make this video. My phone had no, I didn't realize my phone had no batteries first time I tried to make it. And in my last video, like all my videos like usually end with my phone cutting me off because I never know exactly when my phone's going to cut me off because it's like too full of stuff. Has no room for the file or whatever. So, but at the end of my last video, I was trying to introduce these. So these are called TKNU, and they're ancient Egyptian, some sort of ancient Egyptian motif, different shapes, and they're on top of these platforms. And like these platforms, especially this one, it's the same as some other Egyptian motifs that seem to be maps, and also similar to somewhat to the sort of platform of some Micronesian stick charts, Pacific Island stick charts, mapping out the Pacific Islands. So I was thinking these might be also like maps. So I put together my best guesses for this. That this one here, that if it's retrograde, as many ancient Egyptian maps are known to be retrograde, i.e. flipped the opposite direction, that it could be this Obi Island, which is an Indonesian island between Papua and Australia and like Sulawesi and Timor and stuff like that. So you know that this part would be this sort of bump down here. And then this part here would be like this part. And then it does seem to have this sort of the shape of a face on there. So it does match pretty well. Obi Island. Fluke. It's also called Obilatu, I think. Or maybe this is just Obilatu, but there's some other name for, I think the whole thing, this one can be called some longer name as well. It might be Obilatu. So, you know, that would be, you know, here's a zoom in on the face, and, you know, I change the colors. I did like the magic pen effect or whatever to change the colors a bit, but you can definitely see, you know, the chin, the nose, and yeah. Let's see. And here's a more regular version, just with the extra saturated, I think, or extra, yeah, something like that, extra color. And so, you know, you can even kind of see a mouth of sorts there, so it fits pretty well. I mean, this part I think was all because this is, you can see like underwater there's land along here, so I think this was all interpreted as the back of her kind of head scarf or whatever. And so yeah, that fits. Then this one fits for where did it go? For this one pretty well, where, you know, I mean, honestly, as soon as I saw this, I thought of this island because I had, you know, I've been looking at all the islands on the planet, kind of at least all the sizable ones, and trying to match them to different avatars. So I'm pretty familiar with the more distinctive shapes, at least. And this one has a pretty memorable shape. This is one of the Cape Verde Islands. So you know that this would be the kind of flatter side here, and then this would be the rounder side there, and this is like his hair, and this would be his face somehow there. So that certainly fits. And I was thinking that it could also be that there's a nearby island. This one is right nearby it, also in the Cape Verde Islands, I believe. So it could be that they're both iterations of the same figure, and that might explain why it seems like there's a hand, like he has a hand to his mouth. That might actually be from this island as another iteration of the same figure, because you know, it kind of looks like he might have a face, or I don't know, maybe this whole thing could be his face, and then maybe this could be his face, and this could be his hand right there, or maybe even that. But I'm thinking this kind of does look like a hand, similarly to that. It's like up in front of his face, because it seemed like they based these on shapes often of multiple things shaped similarly that would be part of an overall story. So yeah, Cabo Verde, Cape Verde. So it's Tarrafal. I don't know if that's the island or if it's Prize is the island. And then Salre is this other one. And so that's in the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of Africa. And so yeah, Tarrafal. I think it's maybe Tarrafal is the name of it. But I don't know. I wish Google Earth would be clearer about what's the name of the island and what's just names of towns. They're never very clear about that. So yeah, I think that's a pretty solid one. And then this other one, let's see. I was thinking this could be that, you know, this was another island that I kind of had memorized the shape of, because it does look a bit like some crouching either animal or human. You know, I think some systems, some traditions turned everything into a human, like a giant. Other traditions turned everything into an animal, and others did a mix of the two. So I'm not sure the name of this, if it's, yeah, who knows? One of these things is the name of the island. Like, you know, it really just gives you all these names of things, and one of those might be the actual name of the island, but it gives zero indication of that. It's like Google is run by idiot feds who don't care if the stuff is actually useful. So yeah, this would be like the back. This would explain why the back foot is so long, because it represents this whole thing here. And that maybe the knee would be considered to be this part here. This whole thing would be like the leg with the knee or something. And then of course this would be the front arm. So that certainly is very well plausible as a, and this is near, it's probably also Indonesia. I think it's Indonesia. It's somewhere near Papua and maybe Sulawesi or something. And what else we got? This. So let's see. Critical information for individual and group survival in the demanding Australian environment is relayed in stories, artistic expression, and artisanal crafts in a complex, multi-layered system. These constructs convey information to within-group observers at variable levels of depth and complexity depending on their education, experience, and status within the group. So that's why modern white people can't understand any ancient mythology, because they have zero level of education in it. To them, it's like you need the insider key to decode this stuff. Basically any modernized person is like disabled when it comes to understanding anything pre-modern, because they not only are not trained in the symbolism, it's been trained out of us. We've been inoculated against reality. Each clan and nation has its own established stories which contain and transmit vital cultural knowledge, including Aboriginal law, personal rights, and responsibilities. So this is specifically talking about, of course, Australian context, but it largely holds across the spectrum in terms of ancient traditions, transmit cultural knowledge, including Aboriginal law, personal rights and responsibilities, land use, astronomical and navigational information. And I would say navigational information is foremost in most ancient traditions, including the Australian Aboriginal traditions. These songline stories are ancient, exhibit little variation over long periods of time, and are carefully learned and guarded by the elders who are its custodians. So these are secrets. So that's why, when people are like, but Rowan, if you're right about this, why didn't people know? Because it's secret. And because the people who are in charge of what people know or are allowed to know don't care or don't want people to know about this. Songlines can be expressed orally by dance, through paintings and petroglyphs, or a combination of all of these. So basically petroglyphs, that's like the cave paintings which stretch back to 45,000 years ago in Sulawesi nearby, with very little change over time, that they're basically all conveying advanced, complex knowledge that largely geographical, that modern people just don't know the code to understand it, so they just see it as primitive imagination. Using these methods, core cultural information is maintained and recalled without the need for a written alphabet, and an individual can acquire a vast store of adaptable and adaptive knowledge over their lifetime. Tribal elders in Australian Aboriginal societies are accorded a great deal of respect, with their knowledge, wisdom, and experience being essential for the growth and survival of their group. Critical information regarding seasonal food sources, intra- and intertribal political relationships, tool use, and manufacturing technology, and secret business is incorporated into traditional songlines and carved, painted, or woven into artworks and tools. The symbolic and geometric patterns of Australian Aboriginal artworks often contain detailed information about matters of tribal interest to which casual or untrained observers may be completely oblivious. So that goes for all ancient traditions anywhere on Earth. Modern people will look at it and have zero idea what it's about, because that's how it's made. It's made for insiders to understand and outsiders to just see it as some kind of random ass thing. When an Australian Aboriginal person needs to learn new information which is not part of the songline tradition, it is common to construct a story which incorporates aspects of the flora, fauna, and physical geography of the local area. Detailed information, including numerical, spatial, and temporal relationships about the subject area, are built into the narrative, which is rehearsed frequently, allowing rapid and accurate recall of the information. Stories are personal, adaptable. All right. Might be all I have from that.